taking a moment and finding myself feel a little bit nervous and a little anxious and sharing. So I'm noticing a bit of tension in my solar plexus and in my heart. Parts of that is because of this topic is a very vulnerable topic. I learned a lot from my stepfather. A lot of it was about education and business, because I was constantly receiving lectures about education and business. The healing process of healing a father wound or a stepfather wound and or a mother wound, all of the wounds. Forgiveness is a big part of that, because forgiveness can quite often fester and manifest into grief and into anger. Kia ora whānau, no mai, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cyrus. Wow, thank you for being with me on this journey. Today we dive into the father wound, because the other day it was Father's Day and I want to talk about it. I had the pleasure to assist in a workshop, and so it made sense to do a video about it. We go through a bit of a journey. I share a bit of a personal journey with my relationship to the father wound and how I have taken and received many different parts from all the men around me to become the man that I want to be. Also post some questions for you on your relationship with your father, and then we dive into just a little bit of a brief touch on the value of men's work and to be in brotherhood. And then as always I finish with the song. So enjoy my whānau. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Let's do Karakia before we start our journey. Allowing your eyes to come to a close or soft gaze and bring your head to a bow. If you ever have, take it off. Whaia, turu tapu nui o tāne. Tāne te waiora, tāne te pūkenga, tāne te tokarangi. Putu ke te whea o, te maranga, te maranga, te pitara, ramahuye, huye. And everyone say, tāikie. Pursue the sacred knowledge of Tāne. Tāne also translates to man and or human. Tāne the life spring, Tāne the verse, Tāne the uplifter of the sky, appearing into the world of light, heightened, persistent, heightened illumination, the gleam, the glow, bind together, draw together as one. Welcome. Today's kōrero is about father. Yesterday here in Aotearoa, New Zealand was Father's Day, and I had the pleasure and the honour to assist in a men's workshop, and so yeah, I just want to have a kōrero about father, share a little bit about my own story with the father, because a lot that was shared there was the father wound, what the father taught, shared men is showing up in their lives, whether those things are good or not good, whatever good means, or another word would be things that served you in this lifetime and things that do not. And so we had a conversation about our experience with the father, and I guess a little personal share for me is I am part of the fatherless generation, is a word that I have come to know as the fatherless generation, of not having my father present, which is quite a common experience here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and amongst Pacific Island cultures. And so I am a sibling of 7, and us 4 older boys have different fathers, and we were all one-night stands, beautiful one-night stands, because my mother in the town that we live in was a port town, and so the Navy ships that would come through, they'll dock for one night and then go. And so I'm half Filipino, half Māori. My father's Filipino. Now us 4 older boys don't know our fathers, because like I said, we were one-night stands. And the 2 older brothers, my oldest brother was whāngaira, which means in Māori roughly given to a family friend. And then my second oldest brother went with my nanny, my grandmother. And then me and my younger brother were between aunties and uncles, and then eventually with my mother, and then with my nanny. And so during our time with our mother, which was between the ages of 6 and 14, is we had a stepfather. And I have three younger siblings to my stepfather that's their dad. And what's great about me and my sibling group is we don't identify as half siblings. We're just brothers and sisters, and we love each other, and it's really, really special. Anyway, and so I've reflected many times on my relationship with the father, the father wounding, and my, that role was filled by my stepfather between the ages of 7 and 14, and there was some, as I reflect back as an adult, there were some great things that I've learned, and then also there were some great things that were a result, not so great things that were a result of my experience with him. One of the things that I'm very, very grateful for, one of the values that were instilled in me was the value of education and business. And a high statistic within Polynesian Māori culture is not doing very well in the career field. And I'm grateful that was instilled in me in education and business and entrepreneurship. Just taking a moment, I'm finding myself feel a little bit nervous and a little anxious in sharing, so I'm noticing a bit of tension in my solar plexus and in my heart. Parts of that is because of this topic is a very vulnerable topic, and in the past I would share very openly about it, but I've been invited by my sister, to be a bit more reserved and private on how I share my story. So I'm noticing like myself feel the what I perceive as pressure of dancing on how do I share my story and still be respectful. Now I feel a bit better sharing that. Anyway, that is a viewing and a witnessing of vulnerability and sharing how I process it. And I actually I've done a video on how to do that process, so I'll put that in the description link, which is called the present moment experience. So yeah, anyway, I feel a lot better now. And so I learned a lot from my stepfather. A lot of it was about education and business, because I was constantly receiving lectures about education and business. And also my experience with him had created this, the words that I'm going to use is a money trauma dynamic, is because part of the reason why, like I shared just before, is I was with my mother and my stepfather between the ages of 7 to 14. And me and my brother left because of him. And I won't get into the details of what that is actually, but we left as a result because of him. And as I went on this journey of healing, I noticed my resistance to money, because my stepfather was a really working hard man, and so he's working really hard to create the luxuries that we got to experience. And so when my brother and I left, my mother asked us if we wanted to leave, the question I asked myself, luxury or freedom? And we chose freedom, safely. And so part of one of the things that I had to really work through in relation to my father wounding and the stepfather wounding was my resistance to money and I didn't want anything to do with money because of what it represented and what it reminded me of during my childhood. And so I had to do a lot of deep work on my money psychology and my money trauma, and I had to unpack it. I'm still unpacking it. But then there's also a layer of generational trauma and cultural, broader family dynamics in relationship to money. And so, yeah, and so that's the kind of what I shared in the circle is my relationship with my my stepfather and what he passed on to me, both that are really supportive and both that weren't. And then there wasn't really a ideal male role model or father role model in my field. There were many males in my field in my growing up in my childhood, and there were different parts that I liked. And for whatever reason at that time, I had this awareness like, oh, I like that, and I'm gonna take that ingredient from my uncle. I want to take that ingredient from my older brother. I want to take that ingredient from my friend who's a male. I want to take that part, that aspect, that trait from an older male friend that I've become friends with. And so I started to build this ideal man that I want to be, that I want to become. And yeah, so that's kind of been my relationship with the father. Is my healing with the father wound. Is mainly taking inspiration from many of the men around me to build this man that I am today, and the man that I want to present to my children when I eventually have children. And one of the concepts that I share that I've learned is that when you do healing, when you are experiencing healing, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing 7 generations in the past and 7 generations in the future. And the healing is simultaneously happening in the present moment. And so for me, the question that was asked is like, how do you want to show up as a man in the future? And there were a couple of people that said different things. And for me, I just said, everything. How I want to show up is having emotional intelligence, having communication intelligence, having awareness of good healing and food as medicine, having an understanding of financial literacy and how to run a business and entrepreneurship. I want to embody all of those aspects so that when I have children, I'm not telling them what to do, I'm just showing them what to do, because I am doing it, I am embodying it. And I was very passionate about that. And so, yeah, my question to you, to all of you, is what is your relationship with your father? And the father that you have, and then also your own, the father archetype. And the father archetype could be the father within, whether you're male or female, the father within that protects, that provides, that guides you forward. And how do you want to show up if you are a man? How do you want to show up as a man in the future, for the future generation, whether you have kids of your own, or if you're planning to have kids, and or if you have kids in your life, whether those are friends' kids or your siblings' kids. So how do you want to show up? So that's my question to you. Yeah. And an invitation and encouragement to connect more with your father and to heal that father wound. And if there is any work around the concept of forgiveness, come to the right place, because I did a video on forgiveness, and actually that video of forgiveness will bring more light to my experience with my stepfather. But yeah, I do a video on forgiveness, and I feel forgiveness is one of the biggest things in this healing process of healing our father wound, or our stepfather wound, and or our mother wound, all of the wounds. Forgiveness is a big part of that, because forgiveness can quite often fester and manifest into grief and into anger. So forgiveness. So if you want to journey through the pathway of forgiveness, there's a video and I'll put it into the link, into the description. And yeah, just an encouragement to connect with your Father and the males in your life. Men's work. Men coming together to do work together, to heal, to share, to grow, to evolve. Men's work. If you do not have that connection, either start it and or join the local men's circle. I encourage it. One of the conversations I was having with one of my brothers early on in this week is that my understanding of rites of passage, of growth and evolution, the difference between men and women is women in some frameworks, and the frameworks that I follow is women have a whole internal process, right? They have their period, which is the invitational death and rebirth every month. They follow the lunar cycle, and quite often a lot of their rites of passages are internal, and quite often in communication, sharing, they're in front of each other and sharing in front of each other. And for men, it's a little different. For men, we don't have an internal rites of passage. Our experience of death and rebirth is when we ejaculate. We release energy, and it's a death. We have to go seek rites of passage outside of ourselves. And quite often, when we're in communication, we're side by side because we're usually in battle or doing something together going forward. And yeah, just to shed that is that men's work is really, really important to come together and share and circle with each other. Yeah. So I'm going to bring that corridor to a close. And I imagine over my journey of this channel, I'll speak more to different topics within men. But I just wanted to speak to the father wound and the father archetype today, and your relationship with the father. So, as always, I'll close with the song. This is a song that I shared in the circle, that we close the space with. And you can also sing it with me. And so the words go: earth, my body; water, my blood; air, my breath; fire, my spirit. And then we go hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. And then I Hakafied this song. And then we go hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, he. So this is what will be called as a rainbow song or medicine song. So it's going to be a call and answer. So I'll go first and you go second. Cool. Earth, my body; water, my blood; go. Air, my breath; and fire, my spirit; go. Earth, my body; water, my blood; air, my breath; and fire, my spirit. One more time. Earth, my body; water, my blood; go. Air, my breath; and fire, my spirit; go. Earth, my body; water, my blood; air, my breath; and fire, my spirit. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Thank you for watching. We went on a bit of a journey there with father and men's work and ended with a beautiful song. Hope you enjoyed that song as well. Like I said, I have a video there on forgiveness if you want to explore forgiveness and the pathway of forgiveness. If you liked what you heard, what you experienced, the journey we went on, the story shared, like, subscribe, comment, and also let me know what topics you'd like for me to have a recorded or on a conversation about, and I'd love to share. Hey.